Hello there. I'm got this tickle in my throat. I'm Dark Shades and I hail out of the east of England and I welcome you to my channel. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe and comment. The reason for this video is because I did a video yesterday about why women avoid sex. And a gentleman wrote to me. He is married to a Christian woman and she is not allowing him to have sex. Apparently, when they first got married the first night, they had sex, and ever since then, she's telling him he has to be baptized. She married him as a non Christian. And now she's saying, oh, they're unequally yoked, and if he wants a proper marriage, he has to be baptized. Now he feels trapped, and he feels as though he's not quite sure what to do. I think a lot of, well, not a lot, but some Christian women, although I think the new millennial Christian women are much more open about sex, are much more and less primitive and ignorant about these old wives' tales about sex is dirty, sex is sinful, and all of that stuff. I think that the younger married Christian couples have a healthier sex life. But you still have some of those Christians who feel self-righteous, who wave sex like a carrot on a string to get their husband to do what they want him to do, and that is unfair. In Ephesians, it does say, "Women submit to your husbands as you would submit to the law, to the Lord." And the thing is that doesn't mean that you have to do everything He says. I mean, but providing it's respectful and it's, it's in a caring way and it's within the remit of your values and your principles, and you're not using the Bible as an excuse, to avoid intimacy, then, you should be having a sexual relationship with your husband. Some women, they are saying to their husbands that, oh, Jesus is my husband. He's the only one who knows how I feel. He's the only one who knows what I need. He fulfills all my needs. Jesus is my father. Jesus is my friend. I can tell him everything. He knows everything about me. He's much better than a human husband. So why get married? Some women get married just because it makes them look respectable, and they don't want to go through the motions of what it takes to be a wife. And then, especially when their husband isn't Christian, they feel as though they can feed him with all kinds of things to prevent intimacy, and it's just not right. Some women, they've just been miseducated. They haven't read the Bible for themselves, and they've listened to what people say, and they use that to avoid sex. Sometimes it's just confusion. What kind of sex is acceptable? Is it just the missionary position? Are you allowed to do a back shot? Are you allowed oral sex? Are you allowed foreplay? Sometimes these are questions, and I mean, I know a lot of couples in the church have relationship counseling, but I wonder how many would be able to be totally open about their fetishes, about their fantasies with their wife. I wonder if they could say to the pastor, I really love to suck my wife titty, but she won't allow me to. Is there anything wrong with that pastor? Or would they feel embarrassed? Or would they be made to feel that actually talking about titties and those, simulating foreplay, whether or not it's taboo, whether or not it's, just not talked about? If they go to the pastor and say, I'm not quite sure how to stimulate my wife, is the pastor going to know? Is the pastor going to be able to tell them? They reckon that some born-again Christians used to look at pornography. And I would imagine those who used to look at pornography or who used to be quite promiscuous before they became fully fledged Christians, they probably have a more satisfying sex life than someone who just doesn't know what to do and whose wife feels embarrassed telling her what she likes. And if she hasn't had previous sexual encounters, how is she going to know what she likes, what to expect? She's got nothing to compare it to. So, loving relationships should take care of themselves. If a couple gets together in a loving, caring, and sensitive way, there shouldn't really be a problem. But if somebody's been brainwashed to say that sex is taboo and it's not something that you do, or you only do it periodically, or you only do it when you're going to have a baby, then you can have relationships which are not satisfying and which are not fair on either party. The man is going to feel entrapped. He's going to feel as though you trapped him to get married, and then he feels cheated because he's married to a Christian woman and she's not partaking. She doesn't want to have sex, and she will use, Jesus is my husband, Jesus looks after me, he's the only person I need, he's the only person I want, he satisfies all my needs, I can tell him everything, he's the only one who knows everything about me. So why do you need a husband? And if you're just having a husband, for status and so you look good in the church, then that's not fair. That's really not fair. You need to marry someone because you are in love with them, not because it looks good, not because you don't want to be seen as though one of these women that nobody wants. So you marry anyone just for the hell of it, and you're not attracted to them. That's not fair. So I just wanted to make sure that, and I also wondered if, these Christian women who abstain for whatever reason, or who are always fasting, and because of fasting they don't want to have sex, or they shouldn't have sex, do they actually have sexual desires, or do they suppress them? I mean, when you think about nuns and monks, they suppress their desires, or they've suppressed it so much they don't even think of it. Is that what these women are doing? And, or are they, or they just don't feel anything at all? Or they just see sex as something that's, going to whip them up and it's going to be nasty and they feel dirty and all of that. In other words, it's the mental picture that they have of sex and making love that's wrong, and they need to change that image. They need to change that picture of it themselves. And the intimacy. I mean, provided, you haven't got a Christian like in 50 Shades of Grey that wants to, tie you to the bedposts and slap you on the bum with his little whip thing. I mean, and sex is consensual. It shouldn't be a problem. You should be able to submit to your husband, and your husband submits to his wife in a loving, respectful way. And you shouldn't be there sticking your nose up and telling him, Jesus, I'm your husband, or whatever it is, whatever excuse you make. You're not a Christian, so I don't think I should be having sex with you after you're done married the man. It's not right. Don't marry him in the first place, but don't use sex as a carrot. It's just not fair, and it's not Christian. Your husband, whether or not he's a Christian or not, is your husband. And if you think all of a sudden after you got to know him you're unequally yoked because there's no spiritual connection, you're not compatible, you're not on the same plane, then you shouldn't have married him in the first place. But it's not fair to use people, because that in essence is what has been done here. You've married someone to give yourself a name and to make yourself look respectable in church, and yet you're not delivering the goods. You're not playing your wife. wifely duties. You're not allowing conjugal rights. It's not fair. Who really cares whether or not you're married anyway? That's inside your head. You're the one that's giving yourself kudos because you believe that marriage is respectful. And with those old fashioned ideas, it's no wonder that you are not allowing your husband to make love to you. So, and a lot of people, you know why they get married? You know, you get some of these pastors, they boast, oh, I've never been unfaithful. I get married, and they condemn people who are not married if they have sexual relations because they made sure they got married quick and early so they don't have to fornicate. So they can be self-righteous. And there's nothing more annoying than when you hear some of these pastors talking about fornication and no sex outside marriage, and they know how difficult it is for a lot of people to find a husband. So what are they meant to do? And you're up there self-righteous just because you have your wife. I wonder if you didn't have your wife, or for some reason you couldn't find a wife, whether you'd still be talking about, so self-righteously about, oh, I've never fornicated. So, I think sex in the church may not have been explained in a way that parishioners understand. Some churches offer relationship counselling, but how confident do couples feel discussing personal activities? Are they likely to censor what they share? You also find some Christian women, they desexualize themselves. They make themselves look so frumpy that their husbands don't even want to make love to them, or the husband has just switched off. And they either embed themselves in work or they have some other hobby that they concentrate on. It must be awful though, really, if you think about it. If you have a wife or a husband, I mean, I know there's sometimes you can't make love because of health reasons. But if you've got a healthy wife and you see her frolicking in the church and jumping up and down and happy and joyful and a jig up lively, she's in the spirit and she jump up and doing all them moves and dance, and then as soon as she gets out the door, she's as stiff as a board. It's like two different people. She come like she can't move, just stiff and miserable and face stern. That time when she was in the church 10-15 minutes ago, face bright up, jumping up and kicking up her foot to the spirit, shaking her booty and doing all sorts, making everyone think, oh yes, what an active woman. Her husband is really lucky. And then as soon as she gets out of sight, she's gone frigid. False advertising. That's what that is. Anyway, I think I have covered most of what I wanted to say, and I do hope that I answered that gentleman's question. I do hope that he is able to turn things around. I mean, I think sometimes it's about educating your spouse. Some genuinely do not know how to have sex, what sex is allowed. They genuinely do not know that there are no limitations on love and sex. There are none, apart from those that you impose on yourself. So there's no part that you're going to find in the Bible that says you can conduct foreplay, or you can kiss someone's nipples, or you can kiss someone's belly, or you can kiss someone's ears, or you can have sex in different positions. You're not going to find that in the Bible. You just have to use your common sense and know that if you love someone, and it feels comfortable and it feels good and it's your partner, it's okay. You don't do anything that you do not feel comfortable doing. That is the only rule. If you do not feel comfortable doing something, and it's not through bigotry, and it's not through lack of information or miseducation why you feel uncomfortable doing things, but providing it is a genuine way that you feel uncomfortable, there are no limitations of what you can do with a husband or your spouse that you love. Because the two of you, if you love each other, you're not going to do anything to hurt each other. You're not going to be disrespectful to each other. You're not going to ask each other to degrade themselves. You're not going to do that. So you should be able to have a healthy, loving relationship, whether Christian or non-Christian. So, does that mean 50 Shades of Grey? I've already said that. Wives to submit in everything to their husbands means that if they are equally yoked, the husband will not make unreasonable demands of his wife or ask her to do anything that cheapens her or degrades her. So we are talking about healthy relationships here. And we are just trying to have happy Christian relationships and healthy sex. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's only wrong if you put that label to it. It's only sinful if it's sinful in your mind. But in and of itself, it is not. It is pure as love and as God itself. And that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.